You don't need to strive, just breathe. Close your eyes for a moment, not to sleep, not to run away, but to come home. Home, to the place within you that has always been waiting. Right here, right now. This moment is not an accident. It's an invitation. Breathe in slowly. Feel the weight of the world begin to soften. Let the noise fade, just for now. You don't have to perform. You don't have to fix anything. You don't have to be stronger than you feel. God is not asking for your perfection. He's asking for your presence, and in return, He gives you His. There's a holy whisper in the stillness, a breath sent from heaven just for you. It wraps around your weary soul like a warm blanket on a cold day. It tells you, you are seen, you are loved, you are safe. Maybe you've been running from pain, from pressure, from expectations, or maybe from yourself. But in this sacred pause, you are being gently drawn back to the arms that never stopped reaching for you. Let go of striving. Let go of the tension in your shoulders, the questions swirling in your mind. For this one breath, you are simply a child in the arms of your Father. No demands, no lists, no judgments, just presence, just grace, just love. The Spirit of God is hovering near, closer than the air in your lungs. He's not somewhere distant or far away. He's here, right now. And He says, you don't need to figure it all out. You only need to receive. Let this breath become a doorway. Let it open your heart. Let it slow your racing thoughts and remind you that you were never alone. Not for a second. This moment is not empty. It's sacred, and it's yours. So breathe again, not just oxygen, but peace, but comfort, but hope. Heaven is not far away. It's right here, in your surrender, in your stillness, in this very breath. You don't have to carry it all. Let me hold you. The world is loud, schedules scream, phones buzz, voices rush in, telling you who to be, what to do, and what you're failing at. But God whispers something different, something holy. He invites you to pause, not forever, just for now. Long enough to remember what's real. This isn't just a break from your to-do list. It's a return, a homecoming, back to stillness, back to Him. You were not designed to move at the speed of fear. You were not created to survive off stress. You were never meant to carry every burden on your shoulders. He sees how weary you are, how tightly you've clenched your fists trying to hold everything together. But now, right now, He says, let go. I've got you. So take a breath, not just with your lungs, with your heart. Let it be a sacred pause, the kind that reminds your soul it's still alive. This moment isn't empty. It's full. Full of divine presence, full of peace, full of rest. You're allowed to stop, to not perform, to not hustle for approval. You're allowed to simply be, as you are, worn out, confused, barely holding it together. And God meets you, here, not at the finish line, not when you've got it all figured out, but now in the middle of the mess. His voice is not demanding. It's not angry. It's a whisper through the wind. Come to me, all who are weary, and I will give you rest. This is more than a pause. It's a sacred reset. In this space, your anxiety quiets, your shame fades, and your true self, beloved, chosen, seen, comes back into view. Let your tears fall. Let your hands loosen. You don't have to pretend here. God knows. He's not surprised by your struggle. He's not disappointed by your tiredness. He's here to hold you, to remind you, you are not holding the world together. He is. You are not the Savior. He is. You are not alone. He has never left. So pause, in the chaos. Let heaven breathe into your lungs. Let the Spirit rest on your shoulders like a warm blanket. Let your soul be still, even if just for this moment, because here, in the quiet, your strength begins again. Not from effort, not from pressure, but from presence. The sacred kind, the healing kind, the kind that restores what the world tried to steal. God's whisper is louder than the world's noise. Let it guide you home. I've never left you, not for a moment. There are nights when silence feels heavier than words, when you sit in the dark, wondering if anyone notices the ache in your soul, when the quiet screams louder than any crowd could. You scroll through messages, none from the one you hoped for. You whisper a prayer, but wonder if heaven heard. Loneliness can feel like a shadow that follows you, even in a room full of people, and sometimes it convinces you that you're invisible, that you've been forgotten, that you're walking this road alone. But that's not the truth. The truth is, God has never left you. Not for a second. Not even in your most silent cries. Not even in the moment when your world fell apart. He saw you, when the tears fell silently on your pillow, when you smiled to hide the sadness, when you showed up even though your heart was breaking. He was there, not far off, not watching from a distance, but near, so near, closer than your own breath. Even now, his presence wraps around you, like the gentle light of morning that enters a quiet room, subtle but sure, faithful. He wants you to know, you are not abandoned. You are not forgotten. You are mine. Maybe others walked away. Maybe someone didn't stay. Maybe you felt like no one understands what you're going through. But he does. He understands your sighs. He feels your unspoken grief. He hears the questions you're afraid to ask. And he still draws near, every single time. This isn't empty comfort. This is truth, drenched in eternal love. You are never truly alone, because God himself walks with you, in the silence, in the waiting, in the messy middle. He walks beside you when no one else can. He holds you when your heart is too tired to hope. He reminds you, I am here. I see you. I love you. So when the world grows quiet and you're tempted to believe you're alone, remember his whisper. It's not your imagination. It's his spirit reminding your soul of what's always been true. You are seen. You are heard. You are deeply loved. You belong. Right here. With him. With every breath, I refill your spirit with courage. Close your eyes. Take a slow, deep breath. Do you feel it? That quiet peace washing over your heart? That is not just air. It's the breath of heaven. In a world that moves too fast, where fear clutches the chest and anxiety steals our sleep, God says, pause, breathe, let me in, because his breath isn't ordinary. It carries comfort. It carries strength. It carries healing. When you breathe in his spirit, something shifts inside. The storm may still rage outside, but within you, a calm rises. The kind of calm that doesn't make sense, except that it's divine. He knows how long you've carried the weight, the stress, the fear, the buried pain from years past. But in this moment, he whispers, let me breathe into those dry places, the places that feel forgotten, the corners of your heart that ache in silence, the memories you've tried to outrun. He wants to meet you there, not to judge, but to heal. With every sacred breath, he lifts away the anxiety. He melts away the panic. He soothes the wounds you thought would never heal. His breath doesn't come with noise. It comes like a gentle wind, subtle yet mighty, invisible yet undeniable. It enters places no hand could reach, and it speaks to the soul in a language beyond words. Breathe, beloved. That's what he says. Let my breath do what striving never could. Inhale courage. Exhale fear. Inhale peace. Exhale shame. Inhale healing. Exhale everything that doesn't belong in your soul. He wants you to know there's nothing too broken, too lost, too far gone that his breath cannot revive. Just like dry bones in the valley came to life by the breath of God, so can you. You don't need perfect prayers. You don't need to prove anything. You just need to pause and breathe. To let your soul remember, you are not just flesh and bone. You are spirit, and his spirit longs to restore you. Let the tears fall. Let your chest rise and fall in rhythm with heaven. Let your soul drink deeply of his presence. There is healing here, right now, and when you go back into the world, take this breath with you. Let it steady you in chaos. Let it anchor you in truth. Let it remind you that no matter what happens today, you carry the breath of heaven inside you. You are being healed. You are being made whole. One sacred breath at a time. Don't wait to be perfect, just come. There is a lie many carry, that you must be whole before you're worthy of love, that you must fix yourself before you can come to God. But listen closely. God never asked for perfection. He asked for your heart. He's not waiting for you at the finish line. He's right here, in the middle of the mess, in the pain, in the confusion, in the breaking, and he's whispering, "Come to me, now, just as you are." Your wounds don't scare him, the ones you hide beneath your smile, the ones you've covered with busyness or locked away in silence. The world may overlook them. People may not understand, but God sees them all, and he aches with you. Each scar, each betrayal, each whispered lie you believed about yourself, he sees them, he holds them, and he longs to heal them, not with pressure, but with presence. He says, "Let me in. Let me touch those places where you've been hurt the most." He doesn't need your performance. He wants your permission. Open the door, even if just a crack. Even if your voice shakes when you say his name. Even if your faith feels too small to matter. He's not asking you to understand everything. He's asking you to trust. To trust that he can do in moments what you've tried to do for years. To trust that his love reaches deeper than your pain runs. You don't have to fight this healing. You don't have to earn it. You only have to receive it. Yes, it may take time. Yes, the process may be tender. But he's patient, and he's kind, and he will walk with you every step of the way. Piece by piece, he will pick up what's been shattered. Word by word, he will rewrite the story etched in your heart. Tear by tear, he will wash away what was never meant to stay. Because healing is not just about feeling better, it's about becoming whole again. You were never meant to carry these wounds forever. You were never meant to live in quiet suffering. God says, "Let me trade your pain for my peace. Let me speak truth where lies have lived. Let me plant hope where sorrow has settled. Let me wrap my arms around you until you remember what love feels like. Don't wait for a better day. Don't wait until you feel strong. Healing starts now. In this holy moment where your pain meets his presence, you are not too broken. You are not too far gone. You are exactly where you need to be, at the feet of the one who heals. So breathe and let go. He's not asking you to be whole. He's asking you to be willing. Let him in. Let him heal. Let this be the day your heart begins to mend. Let me write my truth into the deep places of your soul. Somewhere along the journey you started believing lies, that you're not enough, that you're too broken, that you'll never be free, that no one sees you, and maybe, just maybe, not even God. But those words, those thoughts, are not yours to carry. They came from fear, from pain, from voices that never spoke life. And today, God leans in, with gentleness in his voice, and says, "Those lies are not from me." He sees the places where they took root, how they shaped your identity, how they echoed in moments of weakness, how they made you question your worth. But now, he is coming with a better word, a living word, a word that restores and rebuilds. Let me speak into the silence, he says. Let me plant seeds of peace where chaos once lived. Let me whisper truth where shame once shouted. His word is not just ink on a page. It is powerful, active, alive. It does not condemn. It awakens. God doesn't remind you of your failures. He reminds you of your purpose. He doesn't replay your worst moments. He replaces them with his promises. Promises like, you are fearfully and wonderfully made. You are chosen, not forsaken. You are my beloved. You are free. You are never alone. These aren't cliches. They're the eternal truth of a Father who knows you deeper than you know yourself. And when you let his words sink into your soul, something shifts. The lies lose their grip, the shame begins to lift, and a new identity begins to grow. It doesn't happen all at once. Healing never does. But day by day, word by word, he rewrites your inner dialogue. His truth becomes louder than your fear, his voice steadier than your doubt. God wants you to know, my word is your foundation. My truth will anchor you. And every lie that once held you captive will be broken. You've listened to the wrong voices long enough. Now it's time to return to the voice of truth. Let it echo in your mind. Let it take root in your heart. Let it become the filter through which you see yourself and your future. Because what God speaks over you is not temporary or fragile. It is eternal, unchanging, and deeply personal. So open your heart. Let his word flood the dark corners. Let it cleanse. Let it awaken. Let it rebuild. You are not who they said you were. You are who he says you are. And his word, it never fails. Even a few minutes with me can become a wellspring of peace. What if peace isn't something you find out there? What if it's something you build in here? Not in the noise, not in the rush, but in the quiet space within your soul. A space God has been waiting to dwell in all along. He whispers, I'm not asking you to build a cathedral. I'm asking you to build a sanctuary in your heart. A place where you come as you are. No pretending, no performing. Just presence. God doesn't need grand gestures. He doesn't measure your faith by how long you pray or how perfect your words sound. He simply asks, will you make space for me? That space could be 5 quiet minutes in the morning, a breath of stillness between tasks, a whispered thank you before sleep. Small moments, but in them, something sacred happens. You shift from being driven to being held. You shift from being scattered to being centered. These moments, your sanctuary moments, are not escapes. They are your realignment. They bring you back to who you are and who you belong to. God says, let me meet you there, in the silence, in the ordinary, in the middle of your messy, beautiful life. In this inner sanctuary, he will restore what the world wears down. He will breathe new life into the places that feel forgotten. He will whisper truths that wash away fear. You'll begin to recognize his voice not only in scripture, but in the quiet inner knowing, in the stillness after a deep breath, in the peace that makes no sense, but fills every part of you. Your sanctuary isn't a place you go. It's a place you carry. It moves with you, in your car, at your desk, during your hardest conversations. It's the calm in your storm, the anchor in your uncertainty, the light in your darkest hour. And with time, it becomes the place where healing happens, where perspective returns, where love overcomes fear. God says, let me dwell in you. Let my presence be your inner home. Make this space sacred. Because in this sanctuary, you'll never be alone. You'll never be without guidance, and you'll never be without peace. It doesn't require perfection, just intention. A heart that says, God, this moment is yours. That's enough. And over time, this becomes your rhythm. Not striving, not rushing, but being with him, being held, being whole. So right now, wherever you are, pause. Close your eyes. Breathe. Return to your sanctuary. He is already waiting there. You are mine. I have called you by name. You are not forgotten. There are moments in life when you feel lost, when no one calls, when your efforts go unseen, when you wonder if anyone truly cares. But in the silence, a voice breaks through the doubt, not loud, but unmistakably real. You belong to me. This isn't just comfort. It's identity. It's the deepest truth of who you are. Before you had a name, God had already chosen you. Before your first breath, He had already loved you. Not because of your performance, not because you got it all right, but because you are His, and nothing, no shame, no sin, no failure, can change that. He says, "You are not an orphan wandering." The world. You are my child. You are seen. You are claimed. Let that truth sink in. You are not just someone who prays to God. You are someone God fights for. You are someone God sings over. You are someone He will never abandon. When others walk away, when friends disappear, when even your own heart doubts its worth, He remains. His love is not conditional. It doesn't shrink when you struggle. It doesn't fade when you fall. Instead, He says, "Even there, especially there, I call you mine." And when the enemy whispers, "You're too broken, too far gone," God speaks louder. "No, you are chosen. You are loved. You are mine." You see, belonging to God isn't a feeling. It's a promise. One written in grace, sealed in mercy, and proven on the cross. It's not something you earn. It's something you receive. It's the safety you've been longing for. The anchor in your identity. The name above every label the world tried to place on you. So the next time you doubt your worth, remember this. You are a son. You are a daughter. You are family. You are forever His. He walks with you through valleys. He defends you in storms. He lifts your head when you feel too weak to go on. And when you look in the mirror and don't see much to celebrate, He looks at you with eyes of love and says, "This is my beloved. I take delight in them." No rejection in your past, no mistake in your journey, can rewrite what He has already declared. You belong to me, forever. So hold your head high. You are not alone. You are not forgotten. You are not disqualified. You are His, forever. I did not come to accuse you, but to love you. There are chains we wear that no one sees. Chains made of shame and guilt. They don't rattle like iron, but they weigh down the soul. And slowly, silently, they pull us away from the very presence we long for most. God knows. He sees the hidden tears, the memories that haunt your quiet moments, the mistakes that replay like echoes in your mind. But here's the truth He wants you to hear. I did not come to accuse you. I came to love you. You may think you've gone too far, done too much, waited too long, but God's love isn't limited by your failures. In fact, His love rushes to meet you in them. He doesn't wait for you to fix everything. He doesn't ask for your perfection. He asks for your heart, your honesty. Can you hear Him? That soft whisper cutting through the shame. Come to me, just as you are. You don't need to carry the weight anymore. Not the guilt of wrong turns, not the shame of hidden wounds, not the voice that says, "You're not good enough," because in God's eyes you're not condemned. You're invited into grace, into mercy, into healing. He sees beyond what you did. He sees who you are becoming. And more than that, He sees who He created you to be. The enemy wants you silent. Shame wants you hidden. But God wants you close. He says, "Let me wash your wounds. Let me rewrite your story. You are not your past. You are not your lowest moment. You are not what others called you in anger or judgment. You are a soul redeemed by love, a heart worth dying for, a life still full of purpose." So breathe. Let the guilt fall. Let the shame melt. Let your spirit rise again. God is not standing, with arms crossed. He is kneeling beside you, lifting your chin, wiping your tears, saying, "You are forgiven. You are free. You are mine." Don't run from Him. Run to Him, not because you've earned it, but because He already gave it. Freely, fully, forever. This is the power of grace. This is the heart of the gospel. You are not accused. You are loved. I will surround your family with my angels, and no harm shall touch them. You've carried so much, not just for yourself, but for your family. The silent prayers before dawn, the nights lying awake, worrying about your children, your partner, your parents, wondering, will they be okay? Will they make it? God sees. Every tear you've hidden, every anxious thought you've tried to suppress, every cry of your soul that whispered, please, protect them. And here is his answer. I have. I am. I will. You and your family are not exposed. You are covered, under my wings, beneath my promise. There are angels around your home, not in stories or symbols, but in reality. Sent to guard, to fight, to protect, even when danger tried to sneak in, even when chaos rose like a flood. My hand was already stretched out, keeping evil at bay. Yes, you've walked through hard seasons. Yes, there have been trials. But you were never abandoned. I walked with you through fire and storm, and I will keep walking with you. Now more than ever, I'm calling you to lift your family in prayer, not out of fear but out of love, out of faith. Gather them, even if it's just one person beside you, even if it's only your voice. Let your home become a house of prayer. There is power when a family prays. There is healing when hands are held. There is breakthrough when hearts unite before me. Picture this. A quiet evening, hands joined across the dinner table. A mother whispers, a father tears up, a child listens and closes their eyes. No perfect words, just faith, just love. And my presence fills the room, soft, warm, holy. This is your covering. This is your legacy. This is the foundation I'm building in your home. I will give wisdom to your children. I will guide them even when they don't listen to you. I will open doors you've knocked on for years. I will break generational curses. I will replace fear with faith. I will turn chaos into harmony. When you pray for them, you invite me into their journey. You give me permission to fight on their behalf, and I will. Not once, not sometimes, always. So don't stop. Even when you see no change yet, keep praying. Even when they walk away, keep loving. Even when you're tired, keep believing, because I am moving, because they are mine too, because your prayers are seeds, and I never let a seed of faith die. Hold on, beloved. I am not only your God, I am the God of your entire household. I am already answering your prayers, and look ahead. You've been standing in front of doors, waiting, knocking, hoping some opened, many didn't. And for a long time you wondered, why not that one? Why now? What else must I do? But listen, a closed door is not a rejection. It's a redirection. It's protection. It's preparation. You see from the surface. I see the whole landscape. What was behind that door you wanted so badly may have led to heartache, delay, or distraction. You only saw the opportunity, but I saw the cost. And because I love you, I closed it. Yes, you prayed with passion, you believed with faith, you cried out sincerely, and guess what? I heard every word. Not a single whisper went unnoticed. And now I'm doing something deeper, something more precise. I'm opening doors that match the weight of your calling. Not every open door is from me, and not every closed door is from the enemy. Discernment is a gift, and I'm teaching you to trust me, even when you don't understand. There are doors ahead of you, prepared, positioned, perfectly timed. They won't require striving, only obedience. They won't ask you to become someone else, only to step forward as your true self in me. You're not late. You haven't missed your moment. Delays do not cancel destinies. Sometimes they refine them. I am already answering your prayers. But the answers may look different than you expected. That job, that relationship, that dream, if it wasn't meant for you, let it go. Because I'm bringing what is meant for you, and it will fit. It will bring peace, not pressure. Joy, not confusion. Clarity, not chaos. So look ahead, not at what didn't happen, but at what I'm preparing. Let your past disappointments go. Let hope rise again. Let me lead you toward what only I can open. When I open the right door, no man can shut it. No force can block it. No fear can keep you from walking through it, and when you do, you'll realize the waiting was worth it. You were never meant to settle for less than what I placed inside you. There's something in you, deep, often hidden, that knows this isn't all there is. You feel it in quiet moments. You hear it in the ache that won't go away. That whisper, there must be more. And there is. Because I made you for more. You were not created to just survive, not to run endlessly in circles, not to shrink to fit expectations, nor to silence your voice out of fear. You were made to live, fully, freely, purposefully. You carry something, eternal. Yes, you, despite the doubts, despite the wounds, despite what others have said. You carry my breath, my spirit, my design. And in that, there is greatness. Not the kind the world shouts about, but the kind that transforms rooms with peace, that restores hearts with kindness, that stands firm in storms because it knows me. You may not feel powerful. You may feel overlooked. You may wonder if you've missed your chance. But hear me clearly. You are not forgotten, and you are not small. The enemy tries to convince you otherwise. He whispers, "You're too late. You're not enough. You're wasting your life." But I say, you are on time. You are chosen. You are destined. Stop looking at your flaws as limits. I use broken people to build beautiful things. I use weakness as a stage for my strength. I chose you, not because you were perfect, but because you're willing, and willingness moves mountains. There's a dream in you that hasn't died, only slept. It's time to wake it. There's a courage in you that's been buried. It's time to rise. There's a calling that's been knocking. It's time to answer. You were made for more than comparison, more than regret, more than blending in. You were made to walk in purpose, to carry light, to change lives, starting with your own. So take the limits off. Take the shame off. Take the fear off. And take my hand. Together, we will step into the more you were always made for. Because when you finally see yourself the way I do, you won't settle again. Not for less, not for lies, not for anything that dims your light. You are my masterpiece, and my masterpiece isn't finished. I'm still shaping, still refining, still calling you higher. So rise up, beloved. Step forward. There is so much more ahead, and it begins right here, with you saying yes. Be careful not because you are afraid, but because you are deeply loved. If only you knew how much you are worth. If only you could see yourself through my eyes, you would understand why I call you to be careful. Not out of fear, but because your heart is precious. You are not just anyone. You carry my light, my spirit, my purpose. That makes you a target for voices that sound sweet but speak poison, for opportunities that shine but lead to ruin, for people who smile but secretly want to dim your light. And so I whisper, be careful, not to make you anxious, but to make you wise. Be careful what you let into your heart. Be careful who you trust with your story. Be careful with the words you repeat to yourself in the quiet. You don't need to be paranoid, just aware. You don't need to be suspicious, just discerning. You are walking in sacred ground now. That means some places you used to go no longer fit who you're becoming. Some people may not understand. Some will try to pull you back into old patterns. They may say, you've changed. And yes, you have. Because my love is transforming you. When I say be careful, it's the cry of a loving father. Not to limit you, but to protect your joy. Not to isolate you, but to guard your peace. There are paths that look right, but end in sorrow. There are dreams that seem golden, but cost your soul. There are offers that feed your ego, but starve your spirit. So stay close to me. Let me help you choose. Let me filter the voices and remove the distractions. Let me show you what's real and who's truly for you. You don't need to chase love. You already have mine. You don't need to impress the world. You're already chosen. And you don't need to accept every invitation. Some doors are better left unopened. Remember, the enemy doesn't come with horns. He comes with flattery, with comfort, with distractions that feel good but numb your purpose. That's why I say, be careful. Not because you're fragile, but because you're powerful. Your heart is a garden. Guard it. Your soul is a flame. Shield it. Your calling is holy. Honor it. And when you feel unsure, pause. Ask me. Listen. I will guide you. You are deeply, deeply loved. And love, true love, always protects. So let my love protect you. Let it teach you when to stay, when to walk away, and when to wait. You are not alone in this journey. I walk with you. I watch over you. I whisper truth into your silence. And when others try to manipulate or deceive or distract, I will be your clarity. So go forward with confidence, but never without discernment. Because your life matters, your purpose matters, and your heart. What feels like the end is the beginning of something new. You've come a long way, beloved. Don't let the weariness of the journey make you forget how far you've already traveled. Yes, some days feel heavy. Some mornings you wake up wondering if anything is changing. And some nights, you question if your prayers are still being heard. But hear this. I am not finished with you. The work I began in your heart was not a fleeting moment. It was the beginning of a holy process, one that I am committed to complete. You are not a half-built story. You are not a broken piece left behind. You are a masterpiece in progress. What feels like delay is often preparation. What feels like silence is often sacred construction. And what feels like an ending is actually the threshold of a new chapter I'm opening in you. I see every small act of obedience, every whisper of faith, every time you chose hope instead of giving in to despair. It matters. Even if no one else sees it, I do. You don't need to strive to finish this on your own. It was never yours to complete without me. Let me carry the weight. Let me hold the blueprint. Let me keep building what you've entrusted to my hands. I specialize in resurrection. I rebuild what was torn down. I revive what felt dead, and I restore what seemed too far gone. Yes, even the dreams you buried, even the confidence that slipped away, even the version of yourself that you thought you lost. I am the God who finishes what he starts. And my timeline is perfect. So be patient with the process. Be kind to yourself in the waiting. And keep making space for me in the middle of the unknown. This season is shaping you. Your roots are growing deeper. Even when nothing seems to bloom yet on the surface, you are not stuck. You are being established. You are not behind. You are being refined. You are not forgotten. You are being prepared. So lift your eyes. Let your soul exhale. Trust me with what you don't yet understand. There will come a day when you will look back and see how every delay, every battle, every tear was woven into something beautiful. Until then, keep moving. Step by step, not in perfection, but in faith. I am walking beside you, working within you, and going before you. So don't rush. Don't give up. And don't believe the lie that says you've missed your moment. You are right on time. And I am still writing your story. Let me finish what I started in you. I love you not because you perform well, but because you are mine. There are moments when you feel your faith is too small. You think it must look impressive to matter. You imagine that your prayers must be powerful, loud, or perfect. But that's not how I see you. Your faith, no matter how small, moves my heart, even if it trembles, even if it comes with tears, even if all you can offer is a whisper. God, I still trust you. That is more than enough. I see you when you keep believing through the silence. I see you when you choose love over fear, hope over despair, kindness over resentment, that quiet decision, that hidden surrender, that mustard seed of faith. It is precious to me. You don't have to earn my love. You don't have to prove your worth. I loved you before you ever believed in me, and I will keep loving you through every season, even the ones where your faith feels fragile. My love is not performance-based. It is presence-based. I'm not watching your score. I'm watching your heart. You are mine. That's what matters most. And every time you lean into me, even in weakness, even in doubt, heaven rejoices. Do you know how deeply I treasure your prayers? Even when you don't know what to say, even when you're overwhelmed, when all you can offer is silence and tears, my spirit speaks for you. Your sighs are sacred. Your stillness is not empty. It is filled with my nearness. When you say, God, I believe, help my unbelief, I come close. Not with shame, but with comfort. I see the effort it takes to keep showing up, to keep praying, to keep trusting when nothing seems to change, and I honor it. I pour strength into you. I add grace to your steps, and I multiply the little you give into something eternal. You don't need to wait until you feel strong to come to me. Come to me because you feel weak. That's where faith is born. In the moments when you have every reason to give up, but you don't. You are not overlooked. You are not unseen. You are not just getting by. You are courageous. You are growing. You are walking by faith, not by sight. And I promise, your faith is not in vain. I am working behind the scenes. I am moving in places you cannot yet see. And the breakthrough you're praying for? It's closer than you think. Hold on. Keep praying. Keep believing. Let your faith be simple. Let it be real. Let it be yours. Because even faith the size of a mustard seed can move mountains. And even a trembling heart, when it chooses to trust, moves heaven. You are not broken beyond repair. I am not distant. I am your refuge. Speak to me every day. I am listening. Close your eyes one more time. Breathe. Let my voice be the last sound your soul hears before you step into the world. Again, let these words become the truth you carry deep within. You are not broken beyond repair. You are being remade, beautifully, intentionally, and with eternal love. The cracks in your heart are not signs of failure. They are where my light shines through. I have seen your darkest nights. I have heard the silent cries you thought no one noticed. I was there. I am here. And I will never leave you. You are not too far gone. You are not too messy. You are not too late. You are still mine. You always have been. You are chosen. Not because of your perfection, but because of my purpose. You are loved, not with conditions, but with the fierce, unshakable affection of your Creator. You are free, not because everything is perfect around you, but because my presence lives within you. Today, choose to believe me. Even if the world says otherwise, even if fear tries to whisper its lies. Let my truth be louder. You are not alone. You are not abandoned. You are not forgotten. You are seen. You are heard. You are held. When you speak to me, I listen. When you reach out, I come running. When you whisper, I need you, I respond with, I'm already here. So let me be your refuge. Let me be your home. Let me be your first thought in the morning and your last whisper before sleep. Walk into your tomorrow with this truth anchored in your soul. You are chosen. You are loved. You are free. And nothing, no storm, no failure, no fear can ever take that away from you. Amen.